We could be kicking ourselves looking back at the 25 to 1 that's on offer.
To say they might campaign him like Brave Man's Games.
If they ran the race again, we could have a different Gold Cup winner.
I have had a bet on this horse at 66 to 1 each way.
20 to 1 could look rather large come the week.
I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd do it.
I've done it.
He's back.
I've done.
Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our feature video this week. And the National Hunt season has well and truly begun now, and we are now finally talking about the Cheltenham 2022 Festival. We're going to bring you a sort of every 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to bring you an episode of this where we give you a couple of selections to build up sort of an Ante-Post portfolio going towards the big festival next March. Jack, you know, it's all about the jump season now. We're well into it, and we're looking forward to previewing some of the action. We've got great action this weekend from Ascot, and also we've got the Charlie Hall chase as well. But, you know, it doesn't all lead to Cheltenham. There are plenty of big races prior, but this is sort of the big one for everyone, and everyone sort of puts their selections up, and hopefully we can have a couple of winners moving into it.
Yeah, it's the pinnacle of the racing calendar, and I mean, if you can try and pick out a winner on the day, it's hard enough. But trying to pick one in October, goodness me, we've got our work cut out here.
That's it. And hopefully we have a decent portfolio. So Jack's got 3 selections for you today. I've got a couple. It'll be a fairly quick video, but it'll give you guys a little insight into why we're putting these horses up. So, Jack, I suppose we'll take it away. What's your first selection?
Yeah, so the first one, I was kind of scratching my head to try and get 3, but it's going to be in the champion chase. And I know we could potentially have a red hot champion chase. Of course, you got Ante-Post, Shishkin, and perhaps Eniga. But it's a little bit surprised me to see Nube Negra still there at 25 to 1.
I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd do it.
I've done it.
He's back.
I've done it.
Nube Negra train is back.
It is, yeah. I mean, I was screaming his name from the rooftops after the Desert Orchid. I got quite a bit of abuse for it as well. But I mean, he was beaten half a length in the champion chase. And I mean, if he wasn't squeezed through him and forced to switch right after the last, I'm pretty sure he would have got up there. And then we wouldn't be looking at 25 to 1. We'll be looking at a single figure price. I still have doubts whether Shaq can get up the hill. I know he was destructive after that. Shishkin, we don't really know where his capabilities lie. And I think Eniga, we've seen he's susceptible to a setback. So I think Nube Negra, we could be kicking ourselves looking back at the 25 to 1 that's on offer, because I still think he's on an upwards curve.
Wow, there we go. We were discussing earlier, myself and Jack, saying that how many selections you're putting up, and I was going to put 3 up, and that third one was going to be Nube Negra. But I thought, you know what, Jack is at some point Jack will put that horse up for the champion chase. I'm glad you've done so. I didn't quickly mention, but we have done a Cheltenham 2022 Ante-Post video. We did that a couple of weeks after the festival had happened. Jack put up 3 Stripe Life of the Supreme at 33 to 1. That horse you can still get around those odds. And we put Galopander's Chomp up for the Brown Advisory. He put that horse up at 25 to 1. The horse is now 8 to 1, so that one has shortened in. I've put Sir Gerhard up for the Ballymore. I'm not quite happy with that, but I put that up at 10 to 1. But Concertista I've also put up for the Champion Hurdle at 40 to 1. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen. I wish it could. I wish they could announce that horse is going to go there, because I genuinely think she's got the speed for it. And with that mare's allowance, I think she'd have a right chance in there. But I still think they're going to end up going with the mares with her. Let's get on to my selection, a horse that I almost followed off a cliff last season, and that's Fakir Duderie for the Ryanair. I think that this is a right old bet. The horse is only 6. He's still a young horse. It seems like he's been around for quite a while, but at the end of last season, he looked sensational in the Marsh Chase at Aintree. He really did. And listening to Joseph comments, I read sort of the stable tours and what Joseph had to say with regards to Fakir Duderie. It sounds like they're going to, again, sort of try him over 3 miles and see how things go. But potentially 2.5 miles by the end of the season is where we're going to see this horse. I'm sure the Ryanair, where he finished second last season, I mean, he was never going to beat the winner that day, but where he finished second that day, I just think that potentially the Ryanair is going to be the long-term plan. A stiff pace in the Ryanair will suit this horse. I described him as the Goldilocks of horse racing. They tried him over 2 miles, they tried him over 3 miles, and he only seemed to perform anywhere in between. So I'd be quite excited about seeing him over the 2.5 miles. And his Cheltenham form is very good. I remember actually, I think it was back in 2020. I was actually speaking at a meeting at Fontwell. So I was speaking to AP McCoy the early part of the year, saying, you know, Fakir Duderie, how good is he? And he seemed very excited by this horse and said it's probably the best JP chance of the week that year. Unfortunately, finished second, but finished second to put the kettle on, only a length and a half seconds. So the horse has run really gallant races at Cheltenham. I think it's around 14 to 1 is a fair price at the moment for the Ryanair. I know it's going to look a tough race, and we'll have to see what Cheveley Park do with a lot of their horses, the likes of NYLN and Allaho as well. But yeah, it's fascinating to see. But I'm going to be with Fakir Duderie in the Ryanair around 14-1. Jack, your second selection.
Yeah. First of all, I think you could be onto a nice little selection there. If Allaho decides to go elsewhere, you've got Shishkin, Aplutard, and Energamain next in the betting. So, I mean, that 12-1, 14-1 could be looking quite appetising next. Next, I'm going to go for a flat horse. Well, last seen on the flat, of course. It's going to be the Cesarewitch winner Buzz for the Stayers hurdle at 20-1. Now, for me, when you're looking through the novice division at the moment, you don't really know quite how good they are. So I kind of wanted to stay away from there. And I think the Stayers division is just so open at the moment. Paisley Park isn't the force of old. Time Hill susceptible to setbacks. And Flooring Porter, I had huge doubts ahead of Cheltenham, and I'll have doubts whether he can do it again. So for me, I think 20-1 about Buzz could be a big price on the day if that's where they choose to go. I mean, Nicki Henderson after Cesarewitch was very clear that he is still a horse on the up. And I mean, he clocked a very nice end sectional considering the overall time was quite good. So stamina is definitely his forte. Of course, let's not forget he was second to Abracadabras at the Aintree hurdle on his last run over hurdles, and he was staying on that day as well. So he can keep up with the Grade 1 company, and I think 20-1 could look rather large come the week.
There we go. Okay, 20-1 about Buzz for the Stayers hurdle. Could look a tasty one for Jack. Now, this selection here, I feel quite cheeky in putting this up because at the time of filming, this horse hasn't run his race at Chepstow, which is going to be tomorrow. I'm going to put the horse up at 66-1. Like I say, the price will either get bigger or the price will be absolutely slashed. But the horse is Mr. Glass. Now, I know I've got one up for the Ballymore already, but I think this horse, just the way I think they're going to campaign him is going to be very similar to Brave Man's Game. I don't think he's going to be as good as Brave Man's Game, but I do think that they're going to campaign him in the same way. Owned by John and Jess Dance, who have got quite a few nice jumps horses in train now. They're very successful on the flat, especially with Lauren and horses like that. But I just think that this horse here, 2 from 3 in bumpers last season, and that was after two wins after the debut run where the horse finished third. The horse has looked very green. I think it was at Haydock the last day. The horse actually jinked out to the right on the bend at Haydock. And I still don't know how the horse ended up winning that race. These were all over sort of around 2 miles, but I think 2.5 is going to suit this horse. Every time this horse has run, sort of hit the line well and always looked like the horse was doing enough. We see this horse at Chepstow, like I say, in a maiden hurdle. The ground is good. I think the horse actually prefers softer ground. If you look at the bumper form, I think the softer the better. But potentially, the horse have no issues with good ground. I actually think if he has the ability, he should be beating these anyway. I just think that if the horse can jump, and Nichols knows how to get these bumper horses jumping, I think that he could be a decent one to watch. And like I say, they might campaign him like Brave Man's Game. So I have had a bet on this horse at 66-1 each way, but I've also had a couple of pound on this horse to win the Challow and the Ballymore at 125-1. Just in case.
No one goes from the Challow and wins the Ballymore. No one does it, Sam. You should know this by now.
I know, but last year we saw an exceptional talent in Bob Ollinger go on to win a Ballymore, and Brave Man's Game ran a sensational race. But look, I'm going to take the couple of quid, but I have had a decent bet each way at 66-1. If the horse rocks up tomorrow and bolts up, I'm pretty confident we're going to see maybe shorter than 20s. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm quite excited about him. He's up at 66-1, but by the time the video's up, it might have been slashed. I do apologise. Jack, I'll let you go with the final selection.
Yeah, we're going to head to the Gold Cup for our last one. I do think these novices have to improve a lot, and I think Manila Indo's fair enough at 6-1, but it's going to be Aplutard I'm going to go for at 8-1. Now, I've watched the race back recently, and he simply didn't have the run of the race. Of course, Manila Indo had the inside rail. I think Aplutard would have definitely benefited from that because he did have a tendency to jump right towards the end of the race. He made a mistake 7 out, and then, of course, had to be checked 3 out, and Rachel Blackmore got a little bit unlucky there. I think if they ran the race again, we could have a different Gold Cup winner. And if that's the case, I think he'd be a little bit shorter than 8-1. So, of course, you've got no Monkfish. I think Espoir Remy is an interesting outsider at about 40-1. I think he's probably the only novice that could perhaps hit the frame. But, I mean, he'll probably be my third pick at 8-1. I know it's quite a short price this early in the year, but looking back down that market, I think you've got to be improving a lot to get anywhere near Manila Indo or Aplutard.
Yeah, it seems like Henry Bromhead definitely holds the keys in the Gold Cup, and there's some decent horses going there. And obviously, we'll have to wait and see what the novice division do. But Monkfish out for the season, so a lot of people, I think that was one of the biggest Ante-Post hopes at one stage was Monkfish to go and win the Gold Cup, but that's not going to be happening this year anyway. So Jack putting Aputard up for the Gold Cup looks a decent bet there. Jack, what price did you say that was?
8-1.
8-1 at this moment in time. So 8-1 about Aputar for the Gold Cup. So that's going to be it for this this week's episode. We're not going to have a feature video every week throughout the jump season. We'll be reviewing some of the action depending on how sort of quality the racing is that weekend. We're going to be back with you guys with a video probably on Friday morning. That'll be our preview of the weekend. Where, like I say, we've got the Charlie Hall where we're probably going to see Surname back out in action. I think we've got Paisley Park out in action as well this weekend, which is exciting to see the legend. And then we've also got racing at Ascot. We'll preview the London Gold Cup handicap. We'll probably see Manella Rocco try and do what he always does around Ascot in that race there. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But Jack and I'll be back with you, like I say, on Friday morning. Thanks for all the support so far. Do let us know who your Ante-Post selections are down in the comments, and we will see you on Friday morning. Thanks for watching.